Que bueno, vale. And welcome to the Broskiedoodles Podcast, you boy. Kiko Flow, Kiko Cervantes, bringing you the motherfucking South, son. And today we got a really good episode. We got a guest, and not just any guest. We got a very special guest. Please subscribe to the motherfucking thing, share it, show it to your fucking grandma. You know, just pass it around because we need to bring this thing up so that I can do more episodes and all. You know I don't waste time in this podcast. I don't do no intros. I don't sell no shit. I go straight to the point. So I got my boy Mauricio in the building, who's a chef. He's a professional cook and a longtime friend. I don't even remember a time when I didn't know this guy. So thank you for being here, Mauricio.
Thank you, bro. Thank you for having me.
All right, so we're gonna get right to it. You're a cook. I've seen your progress. I like the way you look at it very humbly, like, I'm out there. But you're a cook, a professional cook. You went to school for it. You've worked in many high-end restaurants, and now you're in San Francisco, right?
Yes, I just moved here a couple of years ago. So.
All right, and I was actually very interested in asking you because, you know, we've been friends for a very long time. Last time I saw you in Spain, you were actually going to work at a Michelin high-end restaurant so that you could learn many things. So you've been in this thing for a minute now, and I never really asked these questions, and I'm very interested because you're sort of inside the machine. You know how the gears work. So to start off, right now you're in San Francisco. I'm in Madrid, Spain. So we're 9 hours away, and right now you're waking up. So it's like 10 a.m. over there.
Yes.
And you were telling me that last night you were drinking with the boys from the restaurant.
You know, it's
is
like
that
every
like
Sunday.
That's a Sunday thing?
Yeah, Sunday thing now.
Okay, is that because most restaurants they take off on a Monday?
Most restaurants are closed Monday, Tuesday. Yes.
So that's your weekend.
We get some time off. That's my weekend. That's when the party starts.
So Sunday is like the Friday for the rest of the people.
Exactly.
And that's when shit goes wow. And this is the first thing I wanted to ask you. Now that we're on this topic, is it true that inside these kitchens is just sex, drugs, rock and roll?
Yes. Well, yes and no. Thankfully, in the kitchens I work at, they're being a lot of good people. But once you've been in the kitchen for a while, you know what's going on behind the scenes. A lot of sex, drugs, and alcohol, partying, and shit going on in the bathroom, and you know. Okay,
and is that a thing that at times you've enjoyed partaking in, or is it something that just you think makes the whole scene bad?
You know me.
Right, but they don't know you.
It's I've changed with the times. No, okay. I'm more settled down. I get a drink with the boys, with the coworkers. We relax, we talk, we settle down, and then we, maybe smoke a joint, maybe drink a beer or tequila, or a lot of Central Americans here, they drink a lot of tequila. So
that's the thing, right? Like a lot of the kitchens, I mean, this is something that Anthony Bourdain has explained, and we'll talk about him in a bit, but that pretty much all kitchens, high-end kitchens, right, where all these fancy people go to, are run by Central America, pretty much. Yeah. Salvadorians, Hondurans.
The good thing about them is that they're hardworking and they're good people. So you treat them right, they give you the world. So you gotta go with them. They're your boys.
And you being Venezuelan, you were raised in the U.S., but you're Venezuelan as a fucking arepa, and so like you kind of you fit in there because at the end of the day it's Latin people, but it's a little different, but you're able to connect, I guess.
It's weird because when I moved to San Francisco, and I'm as you can see I'm white. I started in this job that I have now. And then the guys who work there, as soon as I spoke Spanish to them, they're like, what the fuck is going on? Dude, you're white as fuck and you speak Spanish better than us. But yeah, I do relate to them. We have every cook in the kitchen has a day where they can prepare family meal for the staff, and Saturdays are my days. And I try to make it so, the other guys, the Latinos in the kitchen, they enjoy it. So I try to make a lot of tacos, a lot of Mexican food, and they enjoy it a lot, and they have fun, and it's great seeing these people eat their food, and it's humbling. I'm not gonna lie. And then my boss, she's white American, and she enjoys having a Latino because she uses me as a translator.
Okay, so you're sort of like the in between, because you were raised in Miami, so you have that whole the culture of the American, but then you also have this thing, this blood that comes, this culture, this fire, it's a song that comes with it. So I get that. And so would you say that it is true you do see sex, drugs, and rock and roll, but also you might be in a kitchen where you have a lot of people, they might have a drink and a joint, but that, have a good head on their shoulders and are like, take this shit seriously. Would you say that's more the case in high-end restaurants?
Yes, definitely. A lot of people, a lot of people in San Francisco or California, they take their job serious. When I worked in Miami, people were coming and going. People were coming high, from weird things. And then, you would see them come to the kitchen high as fuck. And 10 minutes later, they just grab their shit and they leave. And you're in the, 5 or 10 minutes away from the shift starting or the kitchen opening. And you see them leaving, and it's hard, but, people here take their job seriously. They like it. They like what they do. They like, it's not just a job for the people who do it here. They like what they do, and it's fun. It's definitely a fun environment, just as long as it's safe, which all the kitchens I work at, it is safe. You don't see like needles and stuff like that, but people have a good head on their shoulder, like you said, and some people are high from weed during service, but they take out the food, and
right.
We can do 150 one night and it goes flawless. But we do 70 on a Wednesday, and it's not as flawless because people are more let go, or
so you do think it might affect, like I was just about to say, like, oh, that's a point for marijuana, like you're saying, like they're high, but they're killing it in the evening, but then you're telling me that what, like, that's not the case, that sometimes.
No, well, if it's weed, yeah, you see them eyes red, calm, they do their job. Sometimes you see other stuff, and then people just lose it. But like I said, most of the people I encounter here, they're very good people. They know what they're doing.
Because I remember you and me worked together at a pizzeria, and I remember being high when working there, and really killing it with the pizzas. So I mean, for me, it concentrates me, and I think that, everybody has their gauge, and so you will know how high you can be. But I would say that unless it's weed, anything else could like put you in a situation where you're not really gonna perform well, right? I don't think, maybe drinking, you could have a couple beers, but even then, I guess you're tired, So
I can't work and be high from weed or drunk. I can't coordinate. I'm also using a knife, so it's just for my sake. I don't like to do it. I've seen a lot of people, like my former sous chef. He was high over weed all the fucking time. But his job was consistent, and it was good, and my boss liked him. My CDC liked him, and that was good. I mean, he busted out every night. But he was,
I used to work at this pizzeria, the type that are like next to a Publix, that it's always like Primos or Joe, some shit like that, and they cook there, right? this wasn't like the high end cooks, with a head on their shoulders. No, this guy had no head in his shoulders, and and I would go buy weed, and he would be like, "Can you get me cocaine and shit?" I'm like, "Fuck, I don't even know how you get that shit." But this guy one day straight up took like a tip of his pinky off, and he just fucking taped it, and he just kept going, and so
He's a warrior.
Yeah, this guy, 13-hour shifts. It was crazy, But shifting off a bit on this, I remember last time I saw you, we were talking before, in the green room before we started, that last time we saw each other was in Spain. You were coming to do some sort of internship style thing on a Michelin restaurant in San Sebastian, the north Bilbao of Spain, where they have a lot of seafood. I want you to speak a bit on that as well. But you told me you're going to a Michelin star restaurant, and I'm a very, like, when I hear shit like that, I'm like, yo, fuck your Michelin stars, And I remember you telling me like, no, dog, you don't understand, this shit's worth it, like this type of food. So first thing is, I want you to explain what is a Michelin restaurant, where they come from, where it's based, how it's based, and then tell us the difference between the Michelin restaurant that you were in Europe, and I'm not sure if you're in a Michelin restaurant now, but at least you are in a high cuisine one in America. What's the main things that you see as different from how those kitchens run?
Michelin it's something because some people like it, some people don't. I like it. I enjoy it when I go out to eat.
You like the system?
Yes, because it says high standards. It says some sort of perfection, which not every kitchen has. It sets a different mentality for cooks and for the people who are going to go eat and enjoy the food. So for me, going to a Michelin star restaurant to practice or to do my internship there, it was nerve-wracking. It's different from what I had seen before I went. It's long hours. I did about 16 hours a day, so with about 1 hour break in between. It's different, but it makes you see product, it makes you see produce a different way. It makes you understand where chefs are coming from, what system they're using, what techniques they're using. And that's pretty interesting because in Spain it's a lot of molecular gastronomy, which I have not done since I came back. And that's something I wanted to not do once I came back. It's still used minimally. Sauces, we use certain powders, if you will, to thicken up sauces, to make bubbles, to make foams, to make all this stuff, which is pretty cool. But at the end of the day, it's not what makes the food great. It's aesthetically pleasing. It makes it, look nice, look beautiful, but it's not the dish,
Do you think it's a little bit like showy, like posh, like shut the fuck up, like give me the essence, don't give me the fucking little.
Yes.
Is there a bit of that in like, here in Spain I go to like museums and you see art, and then I sometimes I see art and I'm like, yo, I really don't see what these people see in this shit. This is sucks. People just are praising this shit for no reason. You know food. Do you see sometimes in this world restaurants that could be even Michelin restaurants, and you're like, yo, this guy, I don't know what they see?
Well, I'm not gonna give names, but yes, there's a restaurant in the city in San Francisco that, well, a lot of restaurants have a star, and then you go and you taste and you see and you're like, this is not worth it. I don't know where it came from. And most of the times you find out that the owner buys the star, which is it's a big myth. How do you get your first star? And then a lot of people say you buy it. But there's also things that go behind the scenes. There's a Michelin person who comes to the restaurant. Nobody knows who he is or she, undercover. Most of the times it's a solo diner. So they come, they order certain things from the menu. Uh, and if they see potential, then they go 3, 4, 5 times because they need to see if it's consistent, which it needs to be for at least a 1 star. Then the max you can get is three stars, and then to get that is a lot of work, a lot of consistency, a lot of much more than just
Now, could
the
the
little thing.
restaurant that has this scout, right, coming in, like the restaurant is not like they entered into like some sort of competition type shit. Like this guy is just going to a place that's getting a lot of reviews, a lot of praise around the city. So this restaurant could get a Michelin star without even knowing they were like pursuing that. Is that the case?
Yeah, most of the times, a lot of places in Asia are like that. They're, I don't know, kiosquitos with noodles, and they get stars, 1, 2 stars, and they're not looking for it. They're not trying to get it, but they still get it because the food is great. They're consistent with the flavor. Um, but yeah, in the
So that
city you
shows you like it
see.
doesn't have to be like expensive stuff. It could be
Oh, it could be
some.
$5 things. Yeah, yeah. It could be anywhere from $5 to a menu of 150 for a one Michelin star. Then you go into three Michelin star, it's 300, 350. So
Do you
it
get?
depends.
Do you always have to get the first one, or can you get 3 stars from one?
No,
From
you go first, second, and then you
Okay, so
third.
it's like if you continue, and I guess there's other parameters, then you will continue to grow. All right,
Yeah,
and so you insinuated that in a way there could be some shenanigans at times in the background where some people
yeah,
might buy, there might be corruption and shit. So, but in your experience, we could say most of the time, if you go to a Michelin restaurant, you're getting your money's worth in quality, or at least it's a really good indicator of where you're going.
yes, for sure, for sure.
And what is it come from? This Michelin, because for me, Michelin is like the fucking tire company. Is that linked to that?
Yes, it actually started in France as a Michelin tire company, so they made it as a road guide, uh, so people can see where to eat, what was worth, the going around the town, and what was worth seeing. But this started years ago, and then they refine it more and more each year, and it's
So it sort of
become more
became
of
like a
a.
like a magazine where they just rated their restaurants, and then it just grew into what it is today, which is like they're the pretty much the Oscars when it comes to food. They dictate, and that's a lot of power. So that's why it's not far fetched to think of corruption being in there, because there's a lot of power behind that.
Yeah. Well, you see all these 3-star Michelin restaurants that have had the 3 stars for years, and they haven't lost it, but they have the same dishes. You think about it, you're like, how can this restaurant that's that's had the 3 stars for 20 years have the same dish or the same 2 or 3 dishes in the menu, and not be penalized for it because they're lacking creativity. You see,
So for example, you would say that if you have 1 star, it could be that you make great dishes and you keep it consistent, and that's you. But to go higher, you have to reinvent yourself constantly. Is that part of like, or it should?
that
Is it?
that's part of the everyday cooking life in a Michelin star restaurant, because you need to be creative, come up with new things, come up with new pairings, new flavors, and yeah, I talked about it with other people that the restaurant I did my internship in Spain has the same first dish for 25 years. The only thing they switch is the plate, the dish where it sits. So, or they put foam here today, but in 6 months they just put like a sauce on top.
Okay.
So,
So without
but
saying names, this could be an example of like you're maybe not really pulling your weight to be that high in the rankings.
for
Okay.
sure. But this guy, or he's a restaurateur. He knows what he's doing. He has multiple restaurants, multiple Michelin stars. It's not like he doesn't know shit, so he's just going with the flow. But he actually knows. He's been around, so it's not like, oh, surprise. But that's why it surprises me that this guy who has been working and having, all these restaurants for years still has 3 stars, but some of his dishes are the same from 5 years ago.
Okay. The restaurant that you were here in Spain, which is a Michelin star restaurant, you told me that it was like about 250 euros for the menu, which is, oh, it's more? Okay.
375 euros.
375.
375.
Okay. And that includes like, it is a bunch of little plates, but obviously it brings minimal amount of foods. And I used to tell you like, yo, what, like, fuck that, like, and you told me like, no, like, it is really worth it. And how would you justify paying that? Like, what's your explanation? Because from what I understand, you think it is worth it. What, like, how would you sell it to somebody to try to, like, to me, right? To try to get me to spend that money on it?
It's hard. It's hard. When I first started going out with my girlfriend, she wasn't into, the Michelin food and all this high food, and I had to teach her, what to look for or what I'm looking for. And what makes it great is, where the meat is coming from, where the milk is coming from. If the produce is, if you have an onion that actually comes from a good farm and not those implanted onions are, 10 pounds, just one onion. So it's those kind of things, the flavors, the experience as a whole. As soon as you walk into the door, how do they greet you? And how do they treat you from, I need to go to the restroom, and then there's a person who comes here and actually takes you to the restroom, opens the door for you. It's an experience. It's not just eating small bites, which I understand why people wouldn't like it, because you're paying 300 euros for, a meal, but they're small size. I think the small size helps because it concentrates the flavor. It makes it a punch. It makes it, I'm tasting this and this is like gonna blow my fucking brains off. Or sometimes you're like, okay, this is good, but could be better. How could I make it better? And at least in my mind, I come up with ways to try to make it better. If it's great, I try not to, because, once you work in the kitchen, you have to see every single detail. Is it worth it? I think it's worth it for sure. It also depends on your income. If you're able to spend 300 euros just for the dinner, just don't think about, drinks. That's another world. The pairing, wine pairing. Some people do, beer pairing or like tequila pairing.
And then they fuck you on another 200 on that item.
Oh, me and my girlfriend went to have dinner and we spent $1,000 on one
Word?
of
This recently on a Michelin star one in LA, in San Francisco.
In San Francisco, sí. Yeah.
And what type of food was it? Explain to me what was the $1,000 meals.
Okay, well, it's in total with the drinks and you also have the extras, like you can add truffles, you can add wagyu meat, you can add all this fancy stuff. It was worth it for sure. I would not, no me arrepiento para nada. It was the best meal I've had. And I don't know, like I said, it's experience, walking into the restaurant, it's how they treat you, it makes you feel special. And, when you fill out the form where you have to make the reservations, you tell them, if you're in the industry, you tell them, oh, I'm also a cook in the city. And yeah, it's small bites, but it was definitely worth it. Would I do it again? Yes, I would do it again.
Yeah, okay. It's just like, if you're able, okay, really. So you're saying if somebody's rich, like they should be doing this all the time.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Okay.
If I was rich, first I wouldn't be in this house.
Right.
I would be close to you and eating in every single fucking restaurant I could in Spain, because, well, at the end of the day, Spain is one of the best, culinary capitals in the world.
I wanted to ask you, because now, since we last saw each other a few years back, I'm more, I have a girlfriend that we've been together for a while now. So we're like, I don't want to call ourselves foodies, because I think that's like really stupid. It sounds stupid, but we like our restaurants, and now we have places that we can like bring people to, right? And but I feel a little intimidated when you come to visit me. It's like I'm gonna take them to this place which I think has really good sushi or really good burgers, and it's a place where me and my girlfriend can spend 50, $60, or some Indian food that's 50, $60. But to me, I'm like, yo, this shit is amazing, right? Are you able to enjoy things like that? Like, for example, could you go have Taco Bell, Wendy's today and enjoy that shit, even though you have higher, your palate it has gone to different places where many people haven't?
Bobby, the other day I went to a place where they sell tortas. Tortas are these Mexican sandwiches. They're like $10. Best fucking sandwich I've had in a while. So yes, I enjoy those things. Those are my favorite things, actually. Am I willing to pay $300 every week? No. Fuck no. Fuck no. She might. I won't. I go to Taco Bell. I go to Wendy's. Here we have In-N-Out, so that's great. Shake Shack, that's fucking great.
Okay.
I'm about that.
It's not like you could have your different taste buds.
No, it depends on where I go. If I'm willing to pay, I prepare myself. I prepare my taste buds for a great meal. If I'm, just around and I want to eat a burger, I'll get it too, and it's amazing too.
Yeah, because I pride myself in thinking that, like, even I've gone to like really nice rice paella places in Spain. I've gone to like fancy ass places where I'm like, yo, they're gonna find out I don't belong in this place, right? Like that type of places, and then I could go have some fucking little $2 hot dogs, Venezuelan style, like, and I guess, is that what would you say the magic of food is? Like, just even the simplest things could be amazing, like Italians, you have some Italian in you, right? If I'm not mistaken.
A little bit.
So Italians, they like to pride themselves into like, oh, I make it a dish with only 4 ingredients, the ones I have here, and I put. So would you say like that's part of what makes it beautiful, like cuisine? That you could make it fancy, 375 euros. I could make this. What's it called? The biology cuisine, whatever.
Molecular.
Molecular cuisine where they freeze, where they freeze your yogurt, and then or you could fucking have some tacos from a little stand. What do you think? Keep going. No, I just have to reset the camera to record. But so do you think you could pay all this experience, but at the end of the day, it's in the essence of things, in the food?
I think it's how much love you put into it. Because you feel when there's no love in the food. When there's no salt, no pepper, no nothing. You know it. You don't have to be a chef to know that. Because you can go to a restaurant, and have shitty food and spend $60 or $100 and not have a good time. That's where you're not having a good time. It's not worth it. But you don't have to be, fancy and being in a Michelin star restaurant to know that the food is made with love. I cook for my girlfriend, and she says it's the best food ever, but it's because I do it with love. I know who I'm cooking for. It's different when you cook for somebody who doesn't give a fuck.
Who doesn't appreciate, who can maybe just eat any shit and they're like, oh, this is fine.
Well, not only the people who eat it, but the people you work with. I've had people who do not give a fuck about anything, and you taste it, it. For sure, it. And you don't need to be, like I said, a chef to see when the food is not made with love. That's why the nonna's food is the best. The grandma's food is the best because they do it with love. They know what they're doing.
Okay, I see, you've had some interaction with your significant other, your partner, your girlfriend. I do say it that way because in our podcast, we're very inclusive, and, whatever it is that you're into is fine. I'm assuming she's your girlfriend. What is the situation? What?
Do not assume.
what is the situation with relationships when you're in the food industry? Like what's like? Just give me briefly description of what your case is, and like is it better if both have sort of the same lifestyle, or how do you work that out?
It's it's hard. It's hard because our times do not, match whatsoever. Good thing she's working from home, so we spend, mornings together. But once I leave for work at 12 or 1, I won't see her until, 11 at night, and she might be sleeping, but it's hard. But I made that choice. I wanted to be with someone who was not in the industry. I wanted to, because I know how hard it is. And
Porn actors do that as well.
yeah, they they do indeed. So I wanted to be with someone who understood what I did, understood the hours I put into my work, and also understands how much I like what I do. That this is what I chose to do, even though 10 years ago I thought I chose something else. And she's understanding. We spend as much time together as we can. And it's not a destructive relationship in the kind of I've seen in where two chefs are together. And, it's they don't know where to leave the outside world outside and then the inside world inside. And that's why I always said that I didn't want to be with somebody who worked in a kitchen, because the job is hard and demanding as it is. You want to come home and not be thinking about work for a while. So I think it's a great choice. She's happy with what I do. I think she understands what I do. She understands my hours. She enjoys it because I cook for her, which is always a plus. And I love her. She's understanding. She's really cool about it. And like I said, I'm teaching her how to eat better, eat good things. And yeah, it's great because I teach her, and then when we go out, we see stuff, we eat stuff together, try stuff that we haven't eaten. And that's I think that's great about not having her work in a restaurant. So
isn't it crazy how and I'm experiencing this, especially once you start growing and being a little bit more financial stable, you can sort of start going to restaurants and like experiencing life. Because when we were broke, we didn't have the luxury to, just get some cheap ass shit, go to Little Caesars, and eat on the top of the car, So you start realizing like, fuck, man, like if I had more money, like I could eat this shit because it's just such an amazing experience. I mean, people in the podcast know I have a hate-love relationship with food, but you have film, you have music, and when you look at food, cuisine, it's even higher in my ranking of experiences that you can have, And it's happened to me where I go to certain places in Spain that I discover. I discovered this Indian place, right? That I pretty much go there every Thursday. I go there, and it's like the mom and the dad are the ones cooking in the back, and the daughter's the one that takes the order. And it's very clean,
mom and pop.
Yeah, very mom and pop, nothing special. And dude, every time I go there, bro, I mean, also the spices might have a thing to do there. Man, I swear to God, I'm having like a psychedelic trip when I'm there.
You sweat, and it's fucking, but it's amazing. You enjoy it.
Yeah, and I just think as I grow older, I'm starting to discover that, and I don't even know the whole matching it with the wine and shit. I'm still in the process where I'm like, that's fucking retarded, but I'm probably gonna learn it, hopefully soon, and then I'm gonna be like, yo, what the fuck? Did you try the Chardonnay with the fucking, Wagyu beef?
Well, to be honest, when I go to a restaurant and they say, do you want this wine? I'm like, sure. It's red wine or white wine. I mean, I don't know anything about wine. When they do the pairing, it's $150 more. It hurts, but it tastes good. It goes with it. But I don't know. I mean, I like the food, and then the drinks is extra.
Okay, so you're not like you're serious. Like you're not gonna lie about like fuck it. Like it's not like you're an expert on this shit. There's some things you don't know, and you kind of go with it. And
Oh, I tell you, I mean, if we go out to eat and I don't know what it is, I'm like, I don't know what it is. Let's try it, and if it's good, it's good. If it's shit, it's shit. But I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I'm not gonna be like, oh yeah, this shit is amazing. I've never had it before. If I don't like it, I will tell you. And if you like it and I don't, that's fine too. Well, para
okay,
gustos hay colores, papi.
you know, back in the day when we worked together in the past, and depending on the place, it works a little different. But part of the culture is you're cooking, and then along the way, maybe you cook a little thing for yourself, or this is a little extra, and we eat it, and oh, this pizza came out wrong, so we're gonna eat it in the back. How much of that goes on, and is it something that you enjoy, like being there cooking, and you're like, sort of like when you're in the grill and you're cooking steak for the invitados, for the homies you got, but you always get a little bit, and at the end of the day, when you're the grill master, you always eat more, you get the best little tips. So how does that work on your day to day in the high cuisine, and even in experiences that you've had, in the last few years?
It happens. It happens. Every Sunday we come home with a goodie bag, with a little cajita feliz. So a lot of things that are not gonna hold for the days that we're closed, like fish or certain meats. If the chef is okay with it, we take it home. When we're working, I'm tasting, but I'm not eating, which is two different things. I could taste a meat, but not enjoy it. I know it's well cooked. I know the sauce is good. I know everything that goes with it is good, but I'm not eating it, so it's not as enjoyable. But yeah, at the end of the night, if you have half a steak left, you can take it home and just not eat it on the line, not eat it in front of the customers. But yeah, it happens. You do.
It's part of it, right? It's part of the perks.
It's part of the part. They don't offer 401k, but they give me free food, so that's fucking amazing.
I mean, I worked in the food industry for a while when I was younger. Obviously, not in the high cuisine, more in the bottom of the pits. But it was some of the best times of my life. Probably the start of me getting fat was there. But man, I remember just having a good ass time with just rolls, like pizzas and Parmesan rolls and.
As you say that, remember when we used to work at the pizza place? And we're like, oh, this is a fuck up. And we, at the end of the night, we have like 3 pizzas to take home just because we were hungry and we wanted to take some food home.
That's what I just said that earlier. Like, I was like, oh, this one got fucked up. Yeah, like me and Mauricio, we used to have a little code like, yo, do this sign or that sign. And that would mean that we're going to fuck up a pizza. And if you fuck up a pizza, you can send it to the client so it stays there. And eventually it's like, well, we can't let it, die. So we'll eat it. And those were some of the best times of my, one thing I spoke about in a previous podcast is like, I remember making pizzas and maybe putting just way too many toppings on that bitch. And then sending it to strangers, I'm just, hooking them up.
For sure. Extra pepperoni or extra something, extra cheese, even though they didn't ask for it. Yeah, I mean, if I were to work in a place like McDonald's, I would send extra nuggets for sure. People are hungry. People want to pay for it. People are high and they want to get some munchies. That's fine. Why not? There's 2 things you can't say no to people, which is water and food. I mean, those are necessities at the end of the day. Yeah, you're paying for the product, but at McDonald's or at a pizza place, you can add a couple extras and it's going to be fine.
I mean, you are a man of God. I mean, I don't know if you're religious, but you're a good person. Would you say that, like, because I always say this, like, people underestimate how much they can affect the world in a positive way. Like, even if you're in a Taco Bell, like you said, McDonald's, you put in a few extra nuggets, nobody's gonna get hurt by that, and like that's gonna be a smile on some kid's face smoking a blunt, like, dude, they just hooked it up, bro. Like, I can see it happening.
They'll probably say, oh, the people working there are high as fuck, so gave me 13 nuggets instead of 12.
But they don't know Mauricio's in the back actually fucking sending the good them. Yes, sending the good wishes,
Yeah.
Now, has this
well, let me stop you right there.
Yeah.
It doesn't only happen in McDonald's or you know, sometimes I'm portioning meat and it needs to be 100 grams and I have 5 extra grams. Why not? Why not?
Fuck. So you're hooking
Yeah,
it up at the high level.
Bobby, this is food is for
Damn,
everyone,
dude.
man.
Yo,
Enjoy the best.
straight up, that's another level of hooking it up.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Put
right now
a
I'm
few
working.
extra truffles. Nah, they count those bitches, huh?
Well, I mean, depends on where you go. I've been to places where the guy's just going at it to truffle.
Yeah.
Just because I used to work at the place and the guy's like, "Oh, what's up, dude? How are you?" And then he's just like truffling that shit up.
Damn.
Truffle is good, just not a lot. But yeah, there's always people hooking you up. Always, even if you don't know them, they're hooking you up. Somehow, some
Also,
way,
so you think
somehow.
there's a lot of that. Some is that a word? Humanitarian or is humanitarian maybe?
Humanity. I don't know. I know what you're saying.
Now, in the food industry, I want to get a little political now. With COVID, happening, the food industry got hit hard as fuck. You were already in San Francisco, it seems. It sort of hit you right when you arrived recently. So, how was that for you? And how have things changed in the kitchen in ways like, are things harder, more annoying because of this? How has that changed?
Well, it was tough because we opened or not we, because I didn't open the restaurant. I started actually 1 week after they opened, but we opened for 6 months before COVID hit it, and they sent everybody home. And it was hard because you didn't know what was going to happen. You didn't know if you're still going to get a job, if and when all this passed. And for 4 months, I didn't do shit. I stayed home with my girlfriend. She was working from home. Thankfully, she kept her job. Thankfully for me, the government helped me.
Okay.
It was tough. Then, my boss called me. She's like, "Oh, I want you back. We're only doing takeout food." And I thought it was cool because we would go in at 11 in the morning, and then by 6 or 7 in the afternoon, we would be out. And it would be shitty because it would be in the middle of the day, so you didn't have enough time in the morning or enough time at night. But it was fun. It was a fun environment. Everybody was, using their masks, getting COVID tests every week or every 2 weeks. That was the annoying part. You had to go to a place to get a COVID test, wait for the results. Always a mask, always gloves. You couldn't, no, it's not like you do, but even though I've seen people double dip, but one tasting spoon for tasting and then you threw it out. And it was like that every day. Things started letting go, being less harsh. So we would still get COVID tests every week, but, we didn't have to wear masks for a while. But once we stopped wearing masks, we had a COVID outbreak at the restaurant. So thankfully I didn't get it, but some of the other people did. So we had to close for a week. And it was annoying because it's maybe a week that you don't get paid, and it's hard. It's been hard, but people are getting used to it. So today, or as of now, everybody wears masks, when we're all together in a meeting or in before service starts, we always wear the mask. Now that we have family meal, we gotta sit in separate tables. The most you can have is 2 people and not, be seated one in front of the other.
It's really serious.
Yeah, even more so in California. In California, they have different laws.
Yeah, they're about to kick out your governor for fucking up the shit. Dude, so
I don't vote, so I don't give a fuck.
You don't vote. I was gonna ask you if you were gonna go for Larry Elder, which I actually like. Well, more than this guy, but I'm not even.
I don't know. I don't talk politics, dude.
This little fucker, yeah, you do.
If you want to talk about Maduro and Chavez, I'm all for that. But this fucker, I don't know, because during the COVID outbreak, the governor went to eat at the French Laundry, which is a 3 Michelin star restaurant in up north from San Francisco, and that was a big thing.
Yeah, I remember.
He went to eat there, and no mask, and we're, what balls, que bolas.
Yeah, he's a
That
hypocrite.
you're
He's a
asking people
hypocrite.
to wear masks, and then you're the first asshole to go eat at a fucking restaurant, spend all this money, and not wear a mask and not have social distance. So it's
No,
sick.
but now I was gonna ask you because I find it that it's a bit stupid sometimes when you go to a restaurant, they ask you to come in with the mask, then you sit down, you take it off, and then you're in the back, you have to use it. And bro, I know being in a kitchen is already fucking hard, it's hot,
Hot as fuck.
and then you have this thing which is sort of like asphyxiating you, right? Do you think there's some regulations there and rules that are a bit stupid?
Some people might think it's stupid. Some people might think it's not. I don't mind it. It's hot as fuck, but I mean, I signed up for this. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes it's hot as fuck. I pull my mask down just to take a breath of air. But it's now we're asking for vaccination cards at the stand once you come into a restaurant. So you have to show your vaccination card.
Damn.
I think it's good. I think people this way they show that they care a little bit. They care about at least employees, but I don't know.
It's very different from here. Here is like loosey goosey.
Fuck that.
And even the rules that exist, nobody follows that shit.
Nobody, yeah. Well,
And so it's crazy. And in Spain, places are small. They're very together.
well, when we went to Miami not long ago, it's like nothing happened there.
Oh,
what's
yeah,
COVID?
Miami's,
It's something
South
else.
Florida is lost. Pretty much. That's lost.
But it's. I like what they're doing here. I think it's a safer route. That's why certain numbers are going down if the numbers are true. And the numbers in South Florida, there might be lies. I don't know.
So, for example, since you moved there, would you say you've gotten a lot woker? Like you're almost always awake?
I'm always awake, but I'm not woke.
Okay.
I mean, there's certain things I don't understand. I'm not gonna go into it, but it's not that I'm against it. You can be whatever you want. Just I don't understand. And San Francisco is very open about that.
About
the LGBT community.
Oh, okay, yeah.
What you want to be and all this stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to get political, but it seems that sometimes they want to be tolerable for everything, and then they don't tolerate other people.
Correct.
I mean, you know me. I don't like to put tags or anything, but I'm more of like a liberal in the real sense of the word here in Europe. So pretty much everybody live their life, be who you want to be, and the government not get involved.
That's how it should be.
That's how I think about it. I wanted to touch on something interesting because people don't know. I mean, now you're a chef. You've been doing this for many years now, and you're an established person in that industry now. But back in the day, people wouldn't maybe think this. You wanted to be a sports writer, and you actually did some semesters with that, right? With journalism. So you're a bit of a writer, right? So are we maybe here seeing a possible Anthony Bourdain from Venezuela? Like,
No.
could we see you maybe being one of these influencers that can bring this crazy world of cuisine to the common man?
No. If I get paid to travel and eat, yes. If I get paid to work, no. I mean, I would love to do something like that, but I mean, it's not my thing. I like what I do now. I'm not, unless I can marry.
What do you do now?
I'm a sous chef at a Thai restaurant.
Thai, okay.
Thai restaurant.
And
So
explain. Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, what is a sous chef? Because people are here hearing me, and they might think like, oh, Kiko here now, he goes to a few little restaurants and now he knows the game. No, I actually don't know what is a sous chef. I'm thinking it's a French word because, those cunts seem to invent everything that has to do with food.
Apparently everything's from France. Sous chef, second in command from head chef, chef de cuisine, however you want to call it. Right now, I'm in the process of being the second in command. So it's pretty cool. You get to oversee a lot of things. You get to, be on top of people, be be more demanding of people, and I've had all these restaurants or all these great restaurants I worked at, and I've learned everything or a little bit from here and from there, which I can definitely apply into somebody who's green, who just came out of culinary school or who just started cooking, and I can teach them ways to be efficient, easier, faster, or smarter. You don't only cook, with your hands. You cook with your head. You cook with your mouth. I mean, it's a lot of things that go into it. And then certain people don't know that go into the kitchen because, oh, I cook at home, I can do it in a fucking restaurant, which, puppy, it's not true. Working in a restaurant, it's fucking hard. And cooking at home, it's fun. You can play music, you can, be naked or whatever the fuck you do, which is fine. But once you translate it into a restaurant, it's completely different. Since I moved to San Francisco, I've had like 4 or 5 people who come into a restaurant. I'm like, this is my first restaurant. I do it at home. I want to do it here. It's like, dude, it's different. You're going to be standing 8 hours, and at home you can sit down, have a glass of wine or whiskey or whatever the fuck. And this is what you as a sous chef try to implement into people and teach them and guide them and be the little nanny, if you will, of the kitchen. Because the head chef has other shit too, paperwork, orders, which sometimes I do as well. So you have to oversee more of the cooks, more of the stations, everything's prepared right. Everybody's ready for service, because there's some fucker who it's, 5:25 and still frying some shit. He has to be ready at 5:30 because service starts at 5:30. So if he's in the shits or if he's in the weeds, I'll take care of whatever he needs. And then once service starts, I call the tickets and I send dishes to happy customers.
So really, even though you're the second in command, you're actually more involved with the hand-to-hand combat, so to speak.
Yes.
You're the one that's maybe speaking to the other chefs more and making shit happen.
Yes. I mean, me.
Nothing against your head chef. I'm pretty sure.
No, you know what?
She's a boss.
I've worked in this industry for 6 years now at high level places, and chefs are assholes. Chefs are, egocentrical and they only think about themselves. But this lady I'm working with, she's, my age. She knows a lot. She's been head chef at other restaurants. So she knows how to talk to people, and she's training me to be more vocal, more open, more, telling people that something is wrong instead of like me doing it myself and not telling which is a defect of mine. I should be, telling people, oh, you're doing this shit wrong. But, just, me, how I am, I'm a little quiet, and sometimes I just don't want to stir the pot, if you will.
Right. So it comes so those positions now, more than the technical part of cooking and the knowledge of cooking, now comes with a managerial aspect of it, where you have to sometimes maybe be firm with people, and it might clash with your personality. But so it might be a challenge for you. But how are you getting along with it? Are you finding your own voice and way of reaching the people?
Well, it's tough. It's tough because, like I said, I work with people who are assholes, who yell at you and embarrass you in front of everybody. And at the end of the day, you don't want to work for that. You don't want to work for somebody who's toxic and who wants to be a fucking dick and show your dick is bigger than everybody else's. No, that's not the point. At the end of the day, we're cooking. We're having fun doing what we do. So why would you be an asshole to this kid who, has been cooking for a year and he doesn't know better? So I can come up to you and tell you next to you, hey, you're doing this wrong. Try to do it better. Or this is how we do it. Instead of like yelling from the other side of the restaurant, hey, you dickhead, you're doing this shit wrong. And then embarrassing you in front of your coworkers. I think that's the wrong way to take it. And yeah, you learn to be tough with people. But at the same time, you also need to be, wanting to have people work for you.
Right, like not
You
only
know,
fear you but respect you.
exactly,
Okay.
exactly.
Well, I like your approach because I actually think in many industries, sometimes you get somebody in the top position that you don't even really know how they got there, but they seem just to be a piece of shit. And
Hmm.
it seems like to me the people that I end up respecting on top of me, and I don't mean that in a sexual way, are the people that make me respect them and not just like because of repercussions, but rather because you are inspiring me to want to do the things right because I look for your acceptance in an organic, positive way because I know that you are doing so like an admiration type of thing rather than. And I think that's what you're gonna accomplish. The last few minutes, just really, what would you think are you now you're gonna be a sous chef, that's second in command. What is your next goal? Is it to be the chef or to have your own restaurant?
Well, I mean, everybody who works in the kitchen and takes it serious, at the end of the day, they do want to be, they have their own thing, own their own restaurant, have their own food, shown to people. But right now, I wanna get seasoned in as being a sous chef, being, learning the other stuff, the behind the scenes, the things that you don't see or that I didn't see before, which it's great because if I want to manage a restaurant in the future, I'm going to need that. And so, yeah, future, I want to have my own thing eventually for sure. But as of right now, my main goal is to, learn as much as I can from my boss and from my coworkers, because at the end of the day, everybody knows a little bit of everything, and they teach you something new every day. So that's pretty cool.
Man, that's insane. I'm looking forward to later in life. Hopefully, when I've succeeded in my shit, I'm like, yo, you know that famous chef? Yeah, that's my boy. Of course, we're going there, and we're going to some weird new restaurant that has this very poshy, obnoxious name, right? You know how those restaurants have always like this fucking, like. So, and lastly, if what would you tell somebody that is now, remember yourself when you were 21, 22, thinking that they like cooking, and they feel like they want to go into this world, and you know how hard it is, like how hard the first roads are gonna be, the fucking grinding. What would you tell them to sort of stay motivated along the way, in that journey?
If you love it, it's gonna make it worth a while. If you put your heart into it, it's gonna make it worth a while. It's the hours are insane. You're gonna miss holidays. You're gonna miss birthdays. You're gonna miss special events, which is part of the industry. It happens. But if you wake up every morning saying, "Okay, I'm gonna cook today, and I'm gonna have fun with my people," and then I think that's the way to go. If you're cooking at home and you want to do it in a restaurant, don't do it. Don't do it unless you're willingly and knowingly,
So how
putting
do you know if
everything
you
into it.
want to do it? You don't? You kind of just stumble upon
I
this
mean,
shit?
you wake up one morning, you're like, I'm a kitchen god or some shit like that.
So there's no clear path.
Well, I think for me, I've always had that restaurant or kitchen thing because grandma's always cooked, so I was always next to my grandma. My mom and my family had a restaurant in Miami for a while, so I went into those kitchens and I saw a lot of things, and I didn't. I mean, my one regret is not starting as soon as I finished high school, which I think it would have made it. I'm 32 now, so by now I could have, been the
You
head
could
chef
have
at a
you could
restaurant.
have three restaurants, one in Paris, one in
There
London,
you
one
go.
in Miami,
Maybe
or
Michelin star restaurant. Who the fuck
right,
knows?
right.
So I started at, I don't know, 26. So after I went to college and I didn't fucking like sitting in lectures for 3 hours, which are annoying as fuck. On the other hand, I went to culinary school where you're always moving, you're always cutting, you're always peeling, so it makes you more active. I'm not a person who likes to sit for an hour or two and listen to somebody just fucking blabbing the whole time. And then for me, it was the movement, the kitchen, learning more about, why does sears or why does it change color, and why does this sauce taste like this? It was my mom told me that it was gonna be hard. I didn't believe her at first, and I saw it firsthand. It was hard, but now I'm enjoying it every second. I wouldn't go back to FIU for sure.
I think what you just said there at the end just solidified what the kids might be looking for. Like if they hear you and they're like, oh yeah, I feel that same shit, then they know they might pursue this thing. Otherwise, if you just think it's a little thing in the weekends that you cook for some chick and she liked it, nah, it ain't that easy, dog. It ain't that easy. This is for real motherfucking warriors.
If you want to impress a girl, do not, cook
just take her to Mauricio's restaurant.
Hell yeah.
The Thai Palace.
Open for you, bitch.
Yo, bro, this has been fucking amazing, man. Before we close, any last things you wanna say? I think I cut you off there. I don't want to leave you with anything in your groins.
No, all good, man. It's again, it's something you love. It's something you gotta do with passion for sure. It's but at the end of the day, it makes you happy seeing that the customer leaves happy. They pay 300 euros for a dinner and they leave happy. You know that your day is made for sure. So it's fun. It's hard. It's difficult, but it's a lot of it's rewarding. It's rewarding for me.
Well, you've made me now believe that there is goodness in the food world, and that chefs are not just little obnoxious assholes. And like seeing that really makes you feel like, fuck, man, there's people out there that are really worrying about you having this experience be amazing. And it's a very private and intimate experience because you're having an orgasm in your mouth.
Yeah.
So, well, dude, thanks a lot for being here, man. I love you. It's been great. And I'm sure we'll have you in other episodes along the way.
I love you too, brother. Thank you so much for having me, man.
Peace, Broskiedoodles. Subscribe to the fucking thing, share it, and tell us your comments about what you just fucking heard. It's a fucking sous chef, motherfucker.